Broadcasting live from the Albay PIO News Center, providing you the most exclusive news update from all over the province. This is News at 12.
News at 12.
In the local scene, the Albay Provincial Health Office has started distributing face masks to local government units affected by ash fall while urging residents to take precautions against inhaling volcanic ashes. The office confirmed assistance has been extended to areas reporting ashfall incidents, including Camali, Ginubatan, Ligao City, and the Josefina Belmonte Duran Albay Provincial Hospital. A total of 495 masks and 2,000 surgical masks were distributed to both Camalig and Ginubatan. Ligao City received 2,000 surgical masks, while the provincial hospital was provided with 195 masks and 2,000 surgical masks. The office said it will continue rapid health assessments among internally displaced persons in evacuation centers to ensure their safety and amid ongoing volcanic activity. Residents are advised to remain indoors unless necessary, as asphalt poses health risks, particularly to the respiratory system. In other story, the Provincial Education Department distributed school and office supplies to child development workers in Barangay Batan, Rapu-Rapu, during the soft opening of the Batan Infirmary. Provincial Education Department head Jeremy A. Cruz joined Governor Noel Ibriga Rosal during the activity. Maria Teresa Diamante said the assistance will help improve learning activities and address classroom needs. The initiative reinforces efforts to strengthen early childhood education services in remote communities. The distribution benefited 25 kindergarten learners and supported daily classroom operations. In other news, the provincial government of Albay is set to acquire 2 additional ambulances to improve patient transfer services for residents of Batan in Rapu-Rapu. The units pledged by the Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office aim to address difficulties in accessing higher-level health care during emergencies. Governor Noel Ibriga Rosal said the ambulances will be stationed in the cities Bakakay and Legazpi City for faster patient transport. The additional units are expected to reduce delays in transferring patients from Batan to hospitals with specialized services. The provincial government said the move will strengthen its referral system and ensure timely medical care for residents in geographically isolated areas. In the national scene, House Majority Leader Ferdinand Alexander Marcos III said the House of Representatives will prioritize the final approval of 2 key measures when sessions resume this week: a bill creating a national land use plan and another seeking changes to the Pantawid, Pamilyang Pilipino program. Marcos said both proposals are already in the final stage of the legislative process and only need approval on 3rd reading before they can move forward. He added that the House has already passed 18 of the 52 priority measures identified by the Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council under the administration of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. According to Marcos, the House leadership under Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez has remained focused on advancing the administration's priority bills in an organized and steady manner. Lawmakers are set to return on Monday after a 6-week break, with sessions running until June 5, as Marcos urged members of the House to maintain momentum and ensure that measures nearing approval are passed before adjournment. In other story, the National Union of Journalists of the Philippines, NUJP, warned on World Press Freedom Day that attacks on journalists continue under the current administration, with the group recording 242 press freedom violations involving state forces. The NUJP said 10 journalists have been killed under the present administration, with no suspects arrested in the cases. The group also cited the killing of community journalist R.J. Ledesma and the detention of journalist Francie May Cumpio, whose terrorism financing charges are being questioned by rights groups. The NUJP added that journalists continue to face red tagging, harassment, online attacks, and criminal charges meant to silence critical reporting. Media groups, including Alter Media, urged the government to protect journalists and hold accountable those behind the attacks on the press. In other news, Batangas Representative Jervil Luistro said the House Justice Committee will approve its report finding enough reason to impeach Vice President Sara Duterte and send it to the full House for debate on Monday. Luistro said the committee has finished its job of reviewing the evidence and deciding if there is enough basis to move forward with the case. The 39-member panel said there is enough basis for impeachment, pointing to possible corruption and constitutional violations, supported by documents and sworn statements gathered over several weeks of hearings. Evidence presented included a witness who said he carried cash for Duterte during campaigns, audit findings questioning how public funds were spent, and bank records showing large money movements that did not match her declared wealth. At least 106 lawmakers must vote yes for the case to move to the Senate, where Duterte could face trial and possible removal from office as political tension continues between her and President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., while she remains a strong early contender for the 2028 presidential race. And in the news outside the country, North Atlantic Treaty Organization NATO said it is working with the United States to understand Washington's plan to pull about 5,000 troops from Germany amid rising tensions between the allies. The Pentagon said the troop reduction will take place over the next 6 to 12 months, and Germany's defense minister said the move was expected. The decision comes as U.S. President Donald Trump and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz clash over the Middle East conflict and trade disputes, with both leaders exchanging sharp criticism. Trump has also threatened to raise tariffs on European Union car imports to 25%, a move that could heavily impact Germany's auto industry. NATO said Europe must take on more responsibility for its own defense, while Trump has suggested further troops cuts in Europe, though Germany said key U.S. bases remain essential. In other story, an Iranian military official said there is a strong chance of renewed conflict with the United States, coming after President Donald Trump said he was unhappy with Iran's latest proposal in installed talks being handled through Pakistan. Trump told reporters that he was dissatisfied with Iran's offer, blamed divisions within its leadership for the lack of progress, and said he was choosing between reaching a deal or taking military action. Diplomatic efforts remain uncertain as Iran submitted a new proposal, while rejecting U.S. criticism of its nuclear program, even as tensions and economic pressure continue around the Strait of Hormuz and global oil supply routes. Fighting continued in Lebanon between Israel and Hezbollah-linked targets, while Iran faces growing economic strain from inflation and reduced oil exports affecting everyday life. And finally, in the news outside the country with reference to the Philippines, a policy think tank has urged the Philippine government to speed up clean energy project under the Japan-led Asia Zero Emission Community, AZEC, instead of pursuing energy deals that could put national interests at risk. AZEC is a regional cooperation framework led by Japan that brings together Asian and global partners to advance clean energy transition, energy security, and decarbonization. Strat-based Institute President Victor Andres Manhit said the Philippines should align with international partners that support sovereignty and rules-based global order, cautioning against arrangements linked to tensions in the West Philippine Sea amid China's overlapping claims. Recent engagements between Philippine and Japan officials, including a meeting with the Special Envoy Kishida Fumio and President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., also reaffirmed efforts to expand regional cooperation and co-host the 4th AZEC Leaders' meeting in November. That's the news at 12, May 4, 2026. We'll be back tomorrow for more news updates. Thanks to our news writers, Naomi Ruth Hernandez and LJ Lurejo. And on the technical side, Chad Bobis. Our Provincial Information Office OIC Marty Gonzalez. And under the supervision of our Governor, Noel Irusal, I am Greg Hallare. Thank you for subscribing. Albay in my heart.